Hi folks, it's the Celt of Kerno here, back with another Lord of the Rings battle report. This time it's another day back at Kirton Games for another mini tournament, the Battlefields of Middle-earth, I believe it's called. It's a 4-game tournament. To start with, I'll again apologise for the photography in this. The light in this place is really awkward and my camera can't deal with it at all. If you've seen these photographs from them before, they're quite grainy looking. I don't know why. It's just the light isn't that great in here. It's in a loft area. It's got lights in it, but they're not very bright, and there's quite a harsh contrast with some of the sunlight coming in the two windows. So my first game, I'm up against Moria, and I'm using a combination of Numenorians and elves this time. I'll show you when I see my army roughly what you got. It's almost 2 complete war bands. It's basically Isildur with 14 chaps, Numenorians, and a banner, and an elf captain without a shield. I'm using the Elrond model. Again with 12 elves, a banner, 2 spear and shieldmen, 4 bowmen, and the rest are normal elven swordsmen. So I've got high fight, and I've got a couple of high strength units, and more importantly, I've got a lot of number. I didn't go with the Lendl this time because he seems to be win big, lose big. I thought I'd take more troops and see how it goes. And I've never really ever, since this game started, I started playing when this originally came out in what 2000s, that kind of time was it? I've been playing since then. I've never actually used the ring on anyone, which is funny because I think I use it in every game in this tournament. So yeah, that's that. And so this is game 1, and as you can see, this is the first warband drop of my opponent. A handful of gobos, a captain in there. His leader is Durbers, which I think is in the other party, and is it Dweller? I think they're called. It's not Denizen of the Dark. I think it's Dweller something, I believe. They're kind of like cave trolls. They can get their wounds back. They can do monstrous attacks. Their downside, though, is their defense 5. So I'll be making sure my elf bows work for this one. And then towards the centre, you have Durbers in the centre there. Again, goblins with shields and goblins with spears. A cave troll, and then another captain with shield, plus a bunch of goblins with shields and a supporting lot with spears. Here's just a quick step at the fire line, just see how far across they are spread here. So with the numbers as they are, I know I can beat pretty much anything along the front there with my guys. I'll be fighting in 2 ranks. I'll have either elf at the front with my Numenorian spearmen behind, or if I've got a couple of Numenorian swordsmen, I'll put my elf spearmen behind. This is generally how I team these guys up, which means I've got the fight 5 and I've got the strength 4 attack in amongst it as well. On the left hand side I have Isildur. I'm just trying to, oh no, he's in the back still at the moment. He'll eventually take place up the front, and I have the elf captain on the right hand side. So as you see, I've picked a point that's between this impassable tree with their woodland around it. The dice along the left hand side there forming the line. That's the edge of the 4-foot barrier. We're playing on 6x4s, so obviously we've had to measure out where the 4-foot is. And yeah, you can see Isildur's now at the front there. He's what, 3 in, and 3 in from the other side is the elf captain. And the opponent just moves up. I've got 4 archers at the front within range of Isildur, so he's my leader. Therefore, I'll get my reroll, and I'll just keep pounding away at just trying to kill off this. Is it a Dweller? I cannot remember. Dweller below. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Denizen or Dweller or some. The mini Balrog. Okay, I'll be just shooting at the mini Balrog. Hope to get rid of it. To my opponent's hate, really, this bodyguard of goblins in front of his mini Balrog is failing to take any shots. I think they're ducking and jumping out the way, because not only am the ones that hitting them are missing, everything that goes through so far has hit the beastie at the back. Main reason I'm trying to get rid of this guy because he's fight 7, so he pretty much beats anything I've got on my front line, except with this door in the ring. So if I can get rid of him, at least everywhere else I'm pretty happy with the fights. So I've pretty much taken up my defensive position and quite happy where I am. I've got my, let's say, spearmen and combatmen at the front there. I have a banner on the left-hand side, which is my elf banner, and the right-hand side in the fighting line, because he has a spear, is my other banner. I then have some supporting units just at the back waiting for an opening to run in and try and do some damage. And I've got a couple of the Numenorian swordsmen, just in case they try and outflank me with a couple of bodies. I'll hold up there, because you know, I don't want to get trapped in behind and give them all the bonuses that they want. So as long as they're there, they're fine. If they decide to all go from my front line, obviously I'll move them back and they can just take up wherever I take a casualty in the front lines. So the 3 or 4 turns of my 4 archers firing at the beastie has finally got rid of him. They're now going to sort their targets and try and take out the cave troll. Let's say cave trolls fight 6, so it beats all my elves, which are, you know, all my normal fight 5 line, but I've got some heroes that can probably at least equal him or beat him. So, you know, obviously if I wear the ring and that. So I'm pretty happy with that. And other than the goblins, I'm not really afraid of anything else on that front line, as long as that cave troll stays behind. And one thing I did notice my opponent was doing, because he was trying to protect his cave troll, this meant that he was getting caught in behind his lines, and when his line eventually charges, I think the first round he does actually fight without the cave troll in the fight, because he couldn't actually get through them. So this is a final overview of the picture. I think Durbaz is right at the back there for the goblins. I say everything else, my shooting is going towards the cave troll. Now I'm needing 6s instead of 5s, because the cave troll, unlike the dweller, is defense 6, so a bit more of a challenge to get through that. So this is the final shot before the lines eventually clash. As you can see there, again, his cave troll is behind his lines, so if I can get the initiative now, I can charge in and basically keep the cave troll out of combat for another turn. He's not going to try and flank anyone, so my other guys here on my flank will come in and just replace where any frontliners have been killed off, so the spears can support them again. Which is exactly what happens, because you see I've gone in there, I got the priority, and by engaging those 2 goblins at the front, even on a little baby 40mm base, that cave troll can't get through to engage my line. So I've kept him out of the fight for 1 turn, giving me the advantage. You can see my Numenorian swordsmen are coming across, and I'm just extending my left hand side there, because you see I've just put those 2 markers down there just to show the edge, so we can see where either of us can be outflanked if possible. So with that, I'm pretty happy with the situation so far. Things are looking pretty good. By the way, the scenario playing is to the death, so it's trying to break your opponent and kill leaders, I believe, is the to the death score points. So combined with a higher fight, strength 4, and banners covering my entire line, yeah, I managed to push pretty much every combat back, and I killed 5 goblins for the loss of 1, which for me is, I'm pretty happy with that. If I keep that trade going, I'll have this in the bag. So this time my opponent gets the initiative and manages to pick the fights he wants. Isidore only ends up fighting 1 goblin with support, and there's no real openings there. I can push anyone else in, but I have my reserves behind. I've got my banners in a place where they're protecting as many as I can. So with the high fight and the rerolls for the fights, I should still be alright. The only problem I'm going to have is this cave troll. I can only hope that he doesn't roll a 6, and with my banners I should be able to beat him in combat. Shock horror! My banners did jack, and my inability to win a combat was embarrassing, and you won't believe it, I actually lost 5 warriors this round. 5 warriors, and I think I killed 2, and that's thanks to Isildur doing heroic fight, I believe. Yeah, he killed 1, stepped up, killed. Oh, he might have killed 3, but yeah, I lost 5 of my front line. If that keeps up, I am in deep trouble. In theory, it shouldn't. I've got a line where we're pretty equally matched, and I have the higher fight, and I say I've got the banners to help me win the combats. So in theory, I should be absolutely fine. But as I say, if those rounds keep going like that, I could be in a lot of trouble. So the battle lines clash again, as you can see here. He's got a goblin captain there, this time going against Isildur. So there's no way he can do a heroic and break his way through. Really, I want Isildur to get the ring on and go and pummel the cave troll, because there's not a lot I can do with that cave troll. He's just going to smash through my lines if I let him stay there. So in theory, I want Isildur to get across, but also part and parcel of this scenario is killing the enemy leader, and Durbers, I think he's on the far left hand side here, hiding behind a large squash of goblins. So I feel a little better this round. I do a couple more casualties, but the cave troll shows his stuff. I think he kills 2 off there. And poor old Isildur, I don't think he does very much. I think he kills off 1 goblin and fails to put any damage onto the... well, might have made it use the fate of the goblin captain. But as you see there, I'm still pretty happy. I think his other goblin captain's on the right hand side somewhere. Trying to squeeze it against my normal troopers, just for the extra attacks, really, chance to win. But from what I thought was a completely defensive location, and I should be absolutely safe, it's become a lot more of a difficult scrap, to be sure. So in the next round, I managed to get the fights off that I wanted. The cave troll, I think I've got the ring on now, and I think the cave troll actually failed his courage test to charge Isildur. I think for 1 round. Because you need courage checks to be able to charge him. So while he's wearing the ring, he is pretty much immune to goblins, because anything over an inch away is -1. So it puts him down to courage 1 to try and charge. So at the moment, I think he's holding him off there. I think he might have... I don't know why he didn't charge into combat. Unless he's just fought and he might have killed 1 off. Oh no, I'll tell you what, this might be the round. In fact, he actually didn't charge in. I think he was charged by the cave troll and beat him back for this round. But yep, casualties are mounting up each side. As you see, all my reserves in the back are going in as well. And this is the last shot of the game. Yeah, this is where the cave troll fails to charge, and I try and hack my way through to Durbers. I managed to do enough casualties to actually break the goblins, but the goblins hadn't broken me in return. So yeah, that was good. So I got the score for breaking, so I did win, but it wasn't very high on victory points. It might have been like a 3 or 5, something like that. And my opponent scored 0. I can't remember offhand, but it wasn't a very good score. So it was a mediocre win. I don't know. I expected something more to happen, to be honest, with my lines. I thought I would smash them quite easily. But as it showed, when it comes down to dice, it's not always a guarantee to get some victories. But I was killing a few goblins for a couple of rounds. That round I lost all 5 in my front line. That's quite scary. That's what... I think I've got about 28 models-ish, 27 models. So... 5 is what, 6 of my force vanish in 1 go. So that wasn't expected. But I'm quite happy with how it worked out. I mean, if I could get a hold of the figure, Isildur would be mounted. Then he would be awesome. Same with the elf captain, really. For the loss of what, 2 warriors, put them both mounted, and then they'll be pretty aggressive. Let's say I haven't got the models. I am keeping an eye out for Isildur online, but he rarely shows his head. Hopefully Games Workshop sometime soon will actually redo all of these guys, and we'll be able to see the models. So it was a win for my first game, and yeah, it was a good little game. It was a meat grinder for sure. I felt sorry for managing to killing off the mini Balrog early on with my 4 archers. Managed to fire him through 2 lines of goblins. But yeah, I've fought those things so many times now. I know the threat they give, and it's normally the first thing my elven archers shoot at. So my regular opponent knows that too well. I'm still not 100%. Because they're roughly the same points as the cave troll, I believe. So it's normally like 1 or t'other, and I like the cave trolls myself. I know the fight 7 is awesome. It's like defense 5. There is a big difference between defense 5 and 6. Especially with a lot of higher strength shooting available, because I know elves are quite popular in that. So yeah, but good game, and first victory to the Numenorean Alliance.